If you hear any music in the background, that's because I'm playing this video. It's the theme from The Last of Us, a 1 hour loop. Just something to help set the mood, help my thoughts, help me calm down, so to speak. For me, anyway. If you can't hear it, it's all the better. I don't really give a shit anymore. I think that's what we want, though, isn't it? As black pillars, as losers. Other than honesty, we want peace. Unfortunately, this peace for us, it can only be found in solitude. Or at least the best chance of it is in solitude. Because, well, we've tried to make it in the wider world. Applying for jobs and asking girls out and working shitty positions. Going to school for both useless and treasured degrees. And in the end, the best of us still end up broke and alone and desperate and miserable. We don't have the genes, we don't have the foundation, we don't have the luck, we don't have the brains. We just can't fit in as normal people, and there's not much we can do about it. We were never going to fit in from the moment we were born. We didn't know, but that was the truth of it. Me, for instance, ever since I was little, I never really fit in. I'm not trying to say I'm neurodivergent either. I'm trying to say I didn't fit in as I wasn't able to follow society's script, and you have to be able to follow the script to at least have a life, quote unquote. Right? Like, I started out having to do an ESL program because my English was atrocious. I mean, I was born here, my English was horrible, so that tells you something. I got into trouble all the time at school as a kid, including into my early teenage years, because I didn't know how to manage my emotions, and nobody taught me to. The only way I was taught to manage my emotions was essentially shut the fuck up. I'm not saying white parents are inherently better or anything, but they're, shall I say, the ones with enough money and the ones who are also not assholes at the same time, which seems to be a lot of the ones around this area, around here. They start instilling things like this into their kids at an early age, and they probably also take their kids to a lot of social outings, social events, and this helps them to experiment. Like, hey, I can, you know, I can slap Tom lightly on the back, but I can't punch him if he takes my toy, or something like that. I don't know. Most of my childhood as well, I just spent it cooped up inside my house, never really talking with anybody or doing anything. We were just kind of like our own little hermit kingdom in the middle of a rich neighborhood we never belonged in. We still don't belong here, but we're still kicking, I guess. And I'm the odd one out. Even as a teenager applying for jobs, I was dumped, rejected like every time. I don't know why. I just, I go in and hand my application and I never hear back. I got like one interview, but I bombed it because I'd never had an interview before, and I don't know, I just didn't have the skills maybe or something. Like, my friend didn't have any interview experience either. He went in like Fred and he got it somehow. I don't know. And yeah, I just got in some trouble later in high school. You know, everybody else was driving and I didn't. It's too much to go over, and I don't even remember half of it. But you can see that I pretty much fell off at the start and didn't get the right help in time, I suppose you could say. So I was left to rot. Here I am now, training to be a Sparky. I didn't choose this. Couldn't even do any research. I didn't even get to make the choice. It was chosen for me. I think that's been a lot of my life. I haven't really been able to experiment to figure out at the appropriate age, like, hey, you can do this, or hey, you can't. One of the main reasons I got into trouble later in school was by acting obnoxious and an idiot. You know, acting like an idiot. Because, well, I was figuring the fuck out, right? Wasn't a great environment or place to, but I was, because I didn't do that as a kid. Like, I used to, there's this marsh near my place. I used to bike around in little circles around the marsh telling myself stories. Like, that's how alone I was. I pretty much just lived in fantasy land and bought into the blue pill because that was what was taught to me and force fed to me by my teachers, my family, all that. By friends, peers, especially later on. Even now, a lot of them believe that shit. I don't, but I mean, it's easy to, right? Like, they have a superior foundation. They're lucky, right? They're smarter or something or the other, right? Right, and they just have to apply a decent amount of effort. Not as much as me, but they have to apply a decent amount of effort, right? Oh, success. And it's just a feedback loop of, you know, they have a solid foundation to build upon, and they also have to put in a good amount of effort, and then just success after success after success. So they start believing, like, hey, hard work wins. The harder you work, the luckier you are. And for people like me, it's like the harder I work, the fucking nothing. There's this one uncle I know. He he's estranged. I mean, all of my family is pretty much estranged. I don't really know the rest of them because they don't live here. And again, I spent my childhood staring at a wall or reading books or whatever. Like, I pretty much talked to nobody. I was mostly just left alone to figure it out. But anyways, I had this uncle from a while back. Heard about it, and he decided, like, hey, I'll just redo school and um like try and get a better job. That's what he wanted to do. So he did, and didn't work. He worked really hard, like really hard. He was really devoted. He earns like $2 more than he did at his old job. That was the last I heard of him. But it's like, you went through all that just to get like a minor pay raise, and he ended up working like the night shift too. And it's just like, hard work does not mean you get luckier. That is a myth. I hate these fucking ads, man. They always give me ads for like shit like pizza or I've been getting like the same like ad of like, oh, do you want like affordable smokes? And I'm like, do you realize I have no money? Like, stop advertising to me, okay? It's not gonna work. That was just me detouring because there's just so many ads. That's annoying. But anyways, he worked his ass off. Based on what little I know of him, his entire life he's worked his ass off. Very hard. I mean, his childhood, he pretty much had nobody, and he had to figure it out. He was he was kind of one of the black sheep of the family, I guess. I think my grandmother liked him a lot, but did she, or is that the other guy? I don't even know. I don't know. But either way, he tried all his life. He decides to make a change. He tries really hard, and doesn't amount to anything. It's like there's almost no change in your life now compared to before. Like, what was all that? Like, you put in all that effort just for this. Meanwhile, this one guy I know in my class, he's like 42 or some shit, right? He's also up in there in age. I think my uncle worked hard, was about the same age as this guy. We'll call this guy Pete. This 42-year-old guy named Pete. He's doing schooling again now because he wants to, I don't know, get a better job or something. I don't really talk to him because I don't have anything to say to him. And somehow, some way, he's been getting a lot of opportunities, in the electrical field to go and work them. And it's just like Pete is the same age as that uncle of mine. They both worked very hard. My uncle gets shit on. Peter gets chances or whatever. Just hard work only works if you have a foundation to build upon. If your foundation is made of sand, hard work is like Sisyphus rolling the rock up the hill. It's just going to roll back down again right in your face. And you're just going to keep pushing it up, and it keeps rolling down, it keeps pushing it up, keeps rolling down. It's just a negative feedback loop with a few positive moments here and there. But they're usually small, or a lot of those were long ago, so it doesn't make much difference. I always get the advice of like, oh, why don't you ask other people for help? Or like, why don't you fight for your future? Which is all just generic rhetoric. As far as I'm concerned, anyone who says that, like, they're just being dismissive. Like, they don't know how to help you, or they don't want to help you because you're annoying them too much, so they just say that. They tell you to shut the fuck up. It's essentially a translation of figure it out. I'm busy. I don't care. Or, sorry, I can't do anything. The best I can do is a crappy slogan I heard from my kindergarten teacher. It's like, just fight for your future, man. Why don't you ask? We are fighting for our future, what little is left of it, and we have asked. Do you think we'd be here if us asking did anything? Just like the other advice I get all the time of like, oh, just be, just have a positive attitude, bro. You'll be fine, bro. Can you at least like really? That is just the laziest attempt ever. Try going up to somebody whose mother just died and tell them, you'll be fine, bro. Wow. Yeah, that's really helpful. They will hate your guts. Or going up to them and just saying, "Oh, just have a positive attitude, bro." They will literally slap you. Not actually, but like, come on, like it's just insulting. Only if your pain is visible and widely accepted will people leave you alone and be nice to you. But if it is not, like us, if it's invisible, and if it can be identified as this is entirely your fault because you're lazy and cowardly and selfish or whatever the hell else they want to ascribe to you, then people just, they just give you one-liners that doesn't do anything, but they don't care, right? They don't give a damn. They'll move on. I mean, as men already, we are only valued if we are useful. We are not really useful, you and I. We're not very useful at all. And even if we are useful, like I said, we're invisible. Our pain is invisible. We don't really have the personality or looks to match up. If you really want to live, you have to be useful and relatable. And relatable as in, like, nice appearance, right? You understand the culture, your personality fits, whatever. You have to be useful and relatable. Most of us are either useful but not relatable, or we're useless. You need a combination of useful and relatable. The lucky ones amongst us have half the equation. Like 60 to 70% of us. If I'm being generous, 50% of us, the other half of us. Well, not the other half of us. Okay, let's reframe that. Maybe like 20 to 40% of us are useful. The remaining, 60 to 80%, 50% to be generous, we're useless. We're not even on the fucking radar. So we struggle alone, by ourselves, with no one and nothing. I mean, people try to help us, but it just doesn't work out. Or nobody really gives a damn anyway. Right? They just get sick of us, being unlucky and not making it all the time. Like, even though we try their formula, eventually people are like, you know what, you're wasting my time. Like, I can't fix you. So, that's that. And yeah, that shit just makes me want to hop on a horse and ride away. Start over somewhere new with like some actual knowledge and experience under my belt. Now that I know stuff, know reality, or at least know something closer to reality, because it doesn't work like that. Yeah. I'm not really sure what I was trying to say with this video, but that's all I really wanted to say. I guess that's all there is that I can say. Today was kind of shit. It's been cloudy all day. It's been great. The only fun I had today was buying a soda and drinking it every now and then, but yeah. I used to put the soda in like this little. I drink bottled water sometimes because our tap broke a while ago, and I used to, pour some of the soda into the bottled water and drink it. Because it was too annoying to have to reach for the soda. But I don't do that anymore. I give up. I've been telling myself I should start the story, but my creative spark is gone, and every time I try to write, it just reminds me of, when people actually gave a shit or pretended to, It was, yeah. But that's just men like us, right? We die in the dark. Honestly, all I can suggest to the rest of you guys is stick to yourselves and try to rely on yourselves as much as possible if you can. And who cares about saving for retirement or that crap? Enjoy. Enjoy. I mean, don't waste your money, right? Don't buy shit you don't need. Although that's kind of redundant because you probably can't afford ass anyway. But spend, splurge, have fun. You're probably not going to live that long anyway, and even if you do live until you're 85 or whatever, your quality of life is going to be like 3 out of 10 tops. So you don't have much of a future, so enjoy now. Stop trying so hard to make your great dream, because you won't. Don't hope. Hope is an anchor. It keeps you in place. It keeps you tethered to long hours, to chasing fantasies, I guess. And in the end, it will only disappoint you. I learned this all too late, and I'm sure you already know this, but that's my sage advice. Anyways, hopefully YouTube doesn't flag this video. I'm just a dumbass talking on the internet, and I always have more to say after the video ends. But yeah, that's what I gotta tell you. Yeah. See ya. Bye.